Welcome to I'mPossible Conversation. I'm your host, Suki, and my goal is to introduce you to the ordinary people's extraordinary journeys. Tonight, my guest is Nilay Kothari. He's a programmer, he's a chef, he's a DJ, leather crafter, salsa dancer, bicycle builder, and dog lover, amongst other things. He's tonight going to share his experience on how the communities can be built to fulfill self and others around us. So let's welcome Nilay now. Hello, Nilay.
Hi, Suki. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm very good. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I am very well. Thank you. It's a lovely day
hmm
outside.
Oh, absolutely. Just couldn't really want to be in. And I'm really glad that all these lockdowns easing now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. hmm So thank you very much for your time to come in and to Impossible Conversation. Could you please tell us about yourself and starting with what's your favorite quote and why, please?
Okay, so I am Nilay, as Suki probably already said. I have no one defined thing about what I am. I am a programmer. I'm a bicycle mechanic. I'm a leather crafter. I'm a chef. I am a salsa dancer. I'm a DJ. I'm a husband. I am a lovely dad to a lovely puppy or lovely dog. And amongst the things, I'm a community builder. I'm also a coach at Landmark. So there's a lot of things that I am, and I do. And
Mm-hmm.
my favorite quote is it's a Mahavakya or a grand sentence or statement. Mahavakya is from Sanskrit. It's
Mm-hmm.
in Sanskrit and it's in Vedantic terms. It comes from the non-dualistic Hinduism, and the quote is Tat Tvam Asi. Uh, Tatvam Asi loosely translate to that thou art. So the ultimate reality that you seek is you. And what the implication of that in your day-to-day life is that that ultimate truth or the ultimate reality, ultimate God, anything that you seek is not separate from you. It is you, and you are
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
what the implication is that you are the universe, and the universe is you, and that makes you limitless. What you see beyond you is you. The other human that you see beyond you is you. The other object that you see beyond you is you, and there is the separation that you feel is maybe physical, but there is no real separation in between you and that. And that makes you limitless. That just basically makes you infinite in terms of you know
Yeah.
it basically
So,
only makes you finite in terms of the finity of the universe.
so it's oneness, isn't it? There is
It's
no
oneness. Yeah,
separation. It's oneness.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Uh-huh. So why do you love this quote? Do you follow that principle?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's that really is one of the guiding principles of my life, of the guiding uh, star, or that governs a lot of all my actions. I would like all of them to be governed by that, but that really gives you a sense of limitlessness, that you are
Mm-hmm.
limitless. There is not, you are not separate. You are not, you know, there is no boundary. Once you don't have that limit, everything becomes you. You start caring about everything more than you ever will. It's isn't
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. You
Mm-hmm.
start caring about nature. Nature is you. You are nature. You start caring about people. People are you.
Mm-hmm.
You are people.
Yeah. There is no
Yeah.
difference. There is no separation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Can you tell me about yourself, who you are as a person and how what's your journey up until now?
Okay. So who I am as a person? Well, I'll start with my journey. I grew up in India. I was born in India
Mm-hmm.
in a small town. I was born in Rajkot, and then my family lives in a small town in India, in Bhavnagar in Gujarat, and that's where I grew up and spent 16 years of my life. From there, I moved for my education to Pune. I did my computer science there, and then I moved back home. Got my first job, didn't like it much. I did another course, and then then I worked in various places in Baroda, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, and various other places. And the last place I worked was in Bangalore in India, and then I moved to UK. I moved to London in
Mm-hmm.
2006 for work. I'm an economic migrant, and I'm yeah, and there started my journey in UK. So then last 5 years, my wife and I we live in Cambridge in a
Mm-hmm.
very beautiful part, next to the river and all that. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a programmer by profession, but I also have various hobbies and interests, and so yeah, DJing, leather crafting, salsa dancing, bicycle mechanic. I kind of like
It's
to
not
create
just a
everything.
few things, it's not various, it's just so many. And you are going, like, what's your next chapter is going to be, don't you?
Yes, I do. My next chapter is we will be moving to Zurich, or we'll be moving to Switzerland. We don't know yet when, due to the lockdown situation, but at some point, yes, we will have that addition to our journey.
Uh-huh. So, who are you as a person? Like, obviously, like that's your profession, and you originally come from India. And what makes your heart sing? What makes you the happiest?
Uh, what makes me happiest is really, for me, seeing people come together for a cause
Uh-huh.
and bringing other people together for a cause, in creating betterment or creating furtherance of people,
Mm-hmm.
in that no one is left behind. That really makes me happy. That's what I really stand for. That's what something that I really want to do in my life and want to have in my life and in the lives of others around me.
Mm-hmm. So you are a community builder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how did it start? Is it because from your cultural background, or is it your personal hobby? How did you start?
So it is a bit of both, actually. More so about my cultural background. In India, everything is a
Mm-hmm.
community. You cannot get away from people, even if you wanted to. And it's you know it's people just walk into the door and be part of your life. And my parents are in India, and I'm never really worried about them being looked after in my absence. There is so much community there, and my dad has been and my mom has been really instrumental in creating those in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have that support. And when I moved to UK, I have a very good anecdote here. So I think the third day I moved to UK, my flatmates and I in 2006, we went out for a dinner, and we went to an Indian food. They had an Indian food dinner ordered in my, well, arranged in my, to welcome me. And they were like 7, 8, I think, yeah, something like that, people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ordered food, and we then the food arrived, and my what comes naturally to me is I took there were 4-5 bowls of food. I started taking the bowls of food and serving it to everyone. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember the guy next to me got so cross about his, that I picked his food and I served it to everyone. He didn't eat it and ordered one separately. And then my flatmate said that in UK you don't really do that. In UK,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that you order your own food and people eat their own food. And I was like, okay, I didn't realize that. That was something. And in India, it's just so natural to share food. You go to a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant, you order, everybody just you don't even think about it. You don't even think about this my food, your food. Even when people come home or something, or outside, it's really that culture of sharing and all that. And that also shows in other aspects of life. Now, of course, there's a cultural difference there, and there is no
Yeah.
taking away from that. However, that sharing and that building of that community is something that really I wanted to create here. And so that's one of my passions. And also what that's one of the things how it's started. Then one
Mm-hmm.
other thing that really drove me to realizing my potential in building communities and the power of communities is when I did my landmark curriculum for living.
Mm-hmm.
So landmark is a life coaching, performance life coaching course. Sorry, you were
Mm-hmm.
going to ask me something?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just going to ask, could you tell me about like landmark, what it is,
Yeah.
and how does it work? Uh-huh.
Sure. So landmark is a performance life coaching training that you do, and there are they offer various courses, and so I've done the curriculum for living, and in the third part of that curriculum for living, which is called the self-expression and leadership program,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I really became present to what the power of community can achieve, and how what it really means to be in a community, and what it really takes to create a community, and what it really means to be in you know be a community. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of the coaching is around that you are a community, and
Yeah.
and that's you start living as you as a community, not you as a person, but you as a community.
Yeah. So that brings us back to your original quote, isn't it? It's all about
Yeah,
oneness, it's community.
yeah.
And could you tell me about the different communities you've built so far since you moved to the UK?
So I have built various communities at work. For instance, there be a few communities that I've built is around community of practice. So how to have a community of software engineers, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
who discuss, learn, train each other, discuss, share ideas, bring each other skills and training up to a certain level, and all that, and really remove silos and enable collaboration and communication between various teams. So
Yeah.
that's sort of the community I've built. I'm really passionate at building it at work. Other
Mm-hmm.
communities I've built around, let's say, our neighborhood. We have a lovely dog owners community, which is called Chesterton
Mm-hmm.
Dogs Walk and Play, and it's all the dogs and the owners in the neighborhood. And it really started as for me, everything becomes a community project, right? So we got a puppy. This was my first puppy as an adult. I had dogs when I
Mm-hmm.
was little, but it was
Mm-hmm.
my first puppy as an adult, and it's a very different thing owning a puppy in UK than owning a puppy in India, for instance. And we
Okay.
didn't have much idea of what it takes, how to you know train a puppy, or how to be you know and then what we read was it's very important to socialize your dog or your puppy with other dogs, so that they are okay when you walk, and they're not neurotic and barking.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and so I said, you know I need a community to support me in this. My
Uh-huh.
I the bringing up of my dog is going to be a community. My community, my neighborhood is going to help me bring up my dog.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is how we created this dog walking community, or dog owners community. And we have probably around 80, 90, maybe 90, around 95 members around now in that community, all
That's
the
a
neighbor.
lot.
Yeah, so that's all the dog owners around.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so a lot of times, of course, before COVID, we had little together walks. We would all walk together, go to a pub. Our dogs all play around together. We have a lovely park, and everybody's off lead, and we are never worried about our dogs playing with each other. We help out each other if somebody has an emergency and wants a dog to be taken care of. Then
Mm-hmm.
somebody will just post, "Oh, I got to go to a hospital. Can somebody look after my dog?" And somebody will take the dog for a night or a few days or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how, it's not just now benefiting me to bring my dog up, it's benefiting everyone in the community, especially during COVID crisis as well. Everybody had, you know, uh, everybody's still keeping in touch. So one of the biggest achievement of that community was that our neighbor's dog, which is same age
Mm-hmm.
as my dog, Archie's dog, few months younger, he got attacked by another dog 2 days ago, 3 days
Uh-huh.
ago,
Uh-huh.
and he got really badly bitten, and he had to be hospitalized. The cost of that surgery was £6,000. The
Oh, wow.
insurance would only cover £2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Within 36 hours, the community raised, at least as from what I know before I came to this call, around £2,700 have already been raised, and the target
Oh,
is
wow.
raising for £4,000. So
Mm-hmm.
13 more hundred to go, but I'm confident that as a community we will get that dog back out of the hospital, have his surgery, and up and running again and playing with other dogs. So that's the power of community. In 36 hours, that's what we, as a
Yeah.
community, all the neighborhood made it happen.
Uh-huh. So that's being a part of that community also. It's not just taking, it's also giving. And then it's like that oneness and togetherness, isn't it?
That's
And
right.
please
Yeah.
tell me about your salsa dancing community, how it started.
So this was a community that not I haven't created. It already was there. I
Yeah.
became
Uh-huh.
part of that community, and this is something that in Cambridge, I think Cambridge and around, we have around 350, 400, maybe more salsa dancers,
Mhm.
and various other, genres of dances, Latin dancing. And this is something that I create events for this community.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, for instance, for the past 2 years, I have been creating outdoor events in
Mhm.
the park every summer to bring everyone together. Like on a day like this, if it wasn't COVID, if it
Mhm.
wasn't social distancing restrictions, we would all be out. I have some speakers. I would be DJing, and I would just be playing music, and people would be dancing in the park and having fun. Now, one thing in salsa is, you get the clubs and the schools and everything, various different schools, and the only social interaction that happens is in the dance floor. So you
Mhm.
dance, but you don't really talk as much. You do, maybe you have little silos of people and you do talk a little bit, but you don't engage as much apart from dancing. And also, it's in a clubby environment. It's much louder music, and it's not the same as social interaction
Mhm.
outside. So what it really brings to the whole dancing community is people start knowing people in daylight, not just in in a salsa dancing venue sort of thing. People start interacting, people start socializing, and start building much more deeper friendship even outside of uh, that salsa scene.
Mhm.
So that's something that mm, that's really that what that community is. Also, the support I get and I'm just so overwhelmed by the love and support I get from that community. For instance, I've made so many new friends and different people, and
Mhm.
so every year my birthday just keeps getting bigger. So I
Mhm.
think, but 3 years ago I had maybe 30 people in my birthday. Then it was
Mhm.
72 people last year. I think it was 120 people. I made a party, a house party, when there was like with my really good, my best friend, one of my best friends,
Mhm.
Joel, and hosted a party at his house, and we had like 120 odd people,
Mhm.
and it's just amazing atmosphere that uh, yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
got created.
remember. I remember you also met your wife at. Was it salsa dancing through salsa
That's right.
dancing?
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Mhm.
Um, that's right. So my wife, I met my wife in salsa dancing,
Uh-huh.
similar to exactly similar to what I created here. It was an outdoor salsa event in a park. That's where I met my wife Barbara, and yeah. So if I can bring that to
Mhm.
someone's life, that's really worth it. If the community can bring that to someone's life, that's really worth it. Also,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Getting to know each other even more, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So BB1, she is asking, how did you become part of your wife's culture and community, and how is she finding to be part of yours? Absolutely, because Barbara's from Slovenia, isn't she?
She's from Slovakia. My wife's from Barbara is
Slovakia,
from, yeah, yeah,
Slovakia, and you are from India, and it's a completely different culture. And both of you are living in UK, and
yeah, yeah. So for
mhm,
me, really, the culture shock was that the cultures aren't different. That
mhm,
was the big one of the biggest shock for me, that my wife is, I think, more popular than I am in India. My parents and family look forward to seeing her more than they. I joke though, but yeah,
yeah,
they really
yeah,
absolutely love her, and I am really loved in the family and in the community in 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 Slovakia.
uh-huh,
And it I think it was the family. Their family is very welcoming. Initially, there was this thing about, oh, who is this guy? He's coming from a different culture. He looks different. Also, I have sometimes a very standoffish personality. I have a hat on, like Godfather sort of hat, and a
mhm,
suit on, and so they've seen me in kind of. Really dressed very well in,
mhm,
because they've seen me in a wedding, for instance, or something like that, and I'm
mhm,
dressed for party or going out like that. And at first they think, or when they see my Facebook picture or something, they think that I am some very serious uppity guy,
uh-huh,
kind of guy.
uh-huh,
And
uh-huh,
really it just yeah, but when we met, it was just completely different. uh, and I just love, yeah, when I go there, we just have so much fun with the cousins and the family. And when funny thing is, they always try to get me drunk, and my game is not to get drunk, because I don't like to get drunk. I like to
mhm,
drink, I don't like to get drunk. So and I don't like to do shots, so there's always the fun bit
yeah,
parties, yeah.
uh-huh. So what's the main culture difference did you two find, like the
uh,
cultural wise?
so as I say, I mean, the biggest cultural shock was that the cultures weren't very different. The culture, one thing that I find different is, it is It's still so I find of course Slovakia is a small country, so
Mm-hmm.
when we say we have a party, for us a small party is 100 people.
Wow.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And for that Slovakia, so a small party is like 5 people.
Uh-huh.
If I say I'm inviting a small party, so when we go home, my dad generally organizes a party for us, so that we can meet family and friends and all that. And that tends to be 100, people at least,
Uh-huh.
if not more. And so that's sort of the difference that I find in
Mm-hmm.
uh, in 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 between the cultures. Apart from that, yeah, of course, food.
Yeah.
Uh, there is a vast um, yeah, there's a vast
Mm.
difference in the kind of and variety of food. We are predominantly vegetarian. The region I come from is predominantly vegetarian, and what I've brought up to be. And it's sometimes difficult to find that vegetarian food in Slovakia. But bless them, they always make they make this accommodation for me, and always try and accommodate the vegetarian food for me and all that. So yeah.
Mhm. Oh, that's so lovely because that even shows that your cultural background and that you come in as a like you are a community builder and that's like in your blood.
Yeah.
And a small party in India, it's 100 and 150 people. And here
Yeah.
we'll say like 5, 6. So that's difference, isn't it? So Bibi says, we love your heart and we love Barbara's smile. Absolutely. So let's talk about the life cycle of community because if you build some kind of community and then what's the life cycle? What's expected? Would you like to be going to be forever or
So it's an interesting thing. So firstly, when you build a community, build it. So from my experience of building communities and from what I've learned from it,
Mhm,
is is that you build a community in a small scale. It's almost like a child or something, and bring people together for a certain purpose. You build a community for a certain purpose, and you let the community grow. You nurture the community. You have more members in the community. At some point, if your community is not surviving without you being in that community,
mhm.
then the community it's not a community. You get that? Then it starts becoming one person, and the cult sort of thing.
Right, I see.
Yeah,
Mhm,
you have to for a successful community. It's very important you creating those leaders that will take that community much further than you ever
mhm,
imagined. So,
mhm.
for instance, the dog walking community that we created, it started as a seed of how to bring my little dog up and socialize with other dogs. Today, it is neighbors supporting each other and raising money for a dog who was attacked
Mhm.
and who is in
Yeah.
hospital, or
Mhm.
who is recovering from punctured lungs. Who would have imagined that socializing small dog would lead to something so big?
Yeah.
And not only that this dog is supported now, but the neighbors know that they can rely on other people's support now. It builds a completely different connection with the whole neighborhood.
Mhm.
That this is so this is how communities grow. Now some communities will grow to much something that I didn't imagine. This they will grow to something that was never imagined when you started growing the community, or when you
Mhm.
created the community in the first place. But that only becomes possible from people being engaged, being motivated, seeing the possibility of the community, being welcomed in the community,
Mhm.
and moving it forward. if it was just a Nilay community, for instance, or Nilay and Archie community, yeah, it is possible. There would be a cult following. I would have, I could create something where there will be a lot of fans on my page, Facebook, and
Yeah, it's
people
like a
following me.
celebrity type of thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. You could do that, but that's not a community, and that starts becoming a cult following. And so in that communities grow differently, and communities have a life of their own. Now, sometimes there is a cause that either gets fulfilled or doesn't get fulfilled. Let's say you have a nature reserve to protect, and you create a community to protect the nature reserve. You fight a legal battle. There could be couple of outcomes. As a community, you stand strong and fight it. There could be two legal battles. You never know. There could be two outcomes. It fails. It succeeds. Whichever way it goes, it's the community has to either live on in a different thing, in a different way, or has to die a natural death. And that natural death is not something that is wrong. A natural death is a natural death of that community, and it's not. It's a cause that has been either fulfilled or unfulfilled, but it is okay. Sometimes we find ourselves, because something that we have created, it's very difficult to let go.
Yeah.
Either to hand it over to someone, or to see it diminish, or see it die. But it is okay, because what you have created, I would look at it in that life cycle, in that what was created there as a part of a community, and the cause was the people's engagement with each other. And that is always going to live. That's not going to die. The cause might have been fulfilled, might not have been fulfilled, and the community in that form might die. However, that would have created something different in the community itself, to create another community that would fulfill other cause. Even at work, you have various task forces. For instance, some task forces that deal with a specific problem, and that's a community, right? You build up a team to deal with a specific problem. You solve a problem, and there is no. You could keep that team, try and keep that team alive, and but then you are trying an unnatural thing that doesn't fulfill anything. If you allow it to, if you give it freedom to either die or create it as something new, then it will always resurrect itself as something new. If you struggle with its death or transformation, then you will lose whatever, it will still go away, but it will be difficult to regenerate something else from there.
Yeah, because I really actually, I love the idea you were saying to me the other day, because it's community. It's like you're not person that's supposed to be there, and then trying to make this community live. Everyone contributes.
Yeah.
All the members, and that's why it builds community. So it's not your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can put yourself out of a community that you have created and hand it over to someone, then you have really successfully, or you don't even have to hand it away. If people just take on the community and move it further, then you have created a very successful community. You have built that inspiration in other people to actually contribute to the community.
Yeah. So I love about this community build that, because I am quite aware that people are trying to get loads of followers and then building tribe and stuff. but community building is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Could you tell me, actually, I got a couple of comments here. Baby is asking, we know that communities must be flexible and resilient, and who is part of this club and who is not. It must be inclusive and leaders most welcome innovation and passion of each member. Without this, community stays stiff and can't evolve. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah.
And
If it starts becoming about people,
mhm,
then it is not. Then it starts becoming about people. People have so much difficulty in letting that control go.
yeah,
That I've created something, or I'm in charge now, and letting that control go. That really stifles the growth of a community.
yeah, absolutely. So, we've talked about life cycle of community and then what could. So, what's your big dream and passion, and what do you stand for except community building?
So my big dream is to
Mhm.
own a lot of dogs. Not own, but at least be with, and
Uh-huh.
create something for dogs. That Yeah,
How come you are so fond of the dogs?
I don't know. I just have one dog, and
Mm-hmm.
I've just fallen in love with them,
Mm-hmm.
and it just brings so much joy to people. They, they or just animals actually. Generally, it's just
Mm-hmm.
so much. And but also the other big dream is to be a father at, you know, and have a
Mm-hmm.
child or children in my life. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and what my stand is that it's no one is left behind. No one and no being, no living being is left behind in the
Mm-hmm.
furtherance, in the development and in the furtherance.
Yeah. So it's
And that
like
again,
all together,
yeah, altogether it
doing
comes
things
from that
as a
Tattvamasi. Yeah,
community. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's absolutely amazing. So
yeah.
how do you motivate yourself? Because I know you have so many different hobbies and you are a very busy person as well. And then you have, how do you motivate yourself?
Okay, so how do I motivate myself is my wife does most of the motivating.
Okay.
She's a very great motivator and motivation coach. And also a lot of training, a lot of what I do and stand for and how I've developed myself has come from the training I've done through Landmark.
Mm-hmm.
And in Landmark, there is one thing that, there is one thing that there are a lot of distinctions and a lot of technologies that you get trained in, but one of them uh, is how to really get out of your act or something that's stopping you to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And it's as simple as identifying what's really stopping you. And it's not something outside. It's not something, oh, so my project initially before COVID was having a big salsa party with a lot of people in, and that was going to be one of my big projects in summer. Have a Cambridge Salsa Festival.
Mm-hmm.
However, COVID and it got stopped, right? And now there's two things. I can be demotivated and you know dejected, and I have been like that. I have been really down and out, and I've been engaging in toxic conversations on Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
all that. However, what really is that's really nothing to do with COVID or anything. What it is who I am as a possibility. What do I want to achieve? What I wanted to achieve from that big salsa event is bringing community together, bringing joy in people's life, bringing dance in people's life.
Mm-hmm.
Having that salsa thing is not important to do that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so now we do a DJ set. I do a DJ set from the roof every Sunday, and I do live parties on Facebook and all that, and I'm still achieving that, bringing people together somehow and bringing joy in people's life.
Yeah.
And so that's really the training that you know focusing on what you really want to achieve from what you thought you wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
That big salsa event was just a means to an end, or means to create
Absolutely.
something,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where some of the technologies that Landmark really I've been trained through, and that really helps me motivate myself. And it's literally stepping out of where you're being stopped, and you physically step out of it, and it really, it's difficult to explain. It needs to be experienced, and you need to be trained in it. But
Mm.
that's really something that how I find motivation, and how I find getting out of my shell and bubble, and any toxicity that is going through. And we all go through that. There's
Mm-hmm.
not, so
Yeah. So we got a message from Barbara saying, "Thanks for the acknowledgement that I am the motivator."
that's my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Barbara. You are the motivator. Because I've interviewed Barbara a couple of weeks ago, and she's just such an inspirational woman. Okay, so moving on, I would like to get to know you better as a person. So it's going to be like very quick, fun questions. And what kitchen appliance do you use every day?
Fire, so kitchen appliance, did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
what kitchen appliance?
yeah. So the stove, fire basically, and knife.
Uh-huh.
With
So
fire
you
and
cook
knife,
every day?
I cook every day. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your
on the
favorite
days,
food?
sorry.
What's your favorite recipe?
Oh, I generally don't have a favorite recipe, but I really like cooking Indian food.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a chef in cooking Indian food, and that's really what, well, yeah. Uh, I've not yet had a favorite recipe.
Right, okay. It's coming soon.
Yeah. Well, as in, I like to cook
Anyway,
everything. It's the favorite is what my people who I cook for like. So,
for you, what about for you? What's your favorite dish for you to eat?
my favorite dish would be something really simple, that I can cook for myself. So I do like curd rice, or lentils, spinach lentils, dal palak, or something wholesome and healthy and
Mm-hmm.
simple that I like to, if I'm cooking for myself. However, sometimes previously, I used to cook a very elaborate meal for me on every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
However, that that doesn't scale well now to my lifestyle. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, it'll be something very simple and but sumptuous and healthy and tasty.
Fantastic. Yeah. Food, eh? So what's the coolest thing you've ever done?
Oh, that
You're the person of many hobbies, and you've
yeah,
been traveling a lot. You've been doing different jobs. So what's the
yeah.
coolest thing you've ever done?
So I've created a lot of stuff. So anything the coolest thing I think, the thing I've done is I'm so proud and moved and inspired by how the community, the dog walking community, came together recently,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I'm really proud of the whole community for, being together in this way. However, uh, so coolest, I don't know. I make a lot of stuff, so everything I make, I think is really cool. So, for instance, I've made not this one, but this one. It's leather. Oh, sorry, it's leather, and I make sort of this kind of leather jewelry for myself.
Uh-huh.
This is something that I've made. It's a
Oh wow, what's
leather.
that?
That's a Bluetooth speaker, uh,
Oh, is the
and it's
cover you?
and the cover is leather. That's the cover I've made. So it looks like a retro radio. I've made my own
Uh-huh,
bicycle, which is very cool. Um,
uh-huh. And you
and
made
it's
Barbara a handbag too.
Yeah, I did make Barbara a handbag. I've made rucksacks from leather, so
Uh-huh.
various stuff. I've also, yeah, my I think my bicycle is probably one of the coolest in the city. It's very chic, uh, and
So
yeah.
tell me more because I've remembered you mentioned about you bringing so many different bits and pieces from the street and then making a bike out of it.
Yeah, so there is so there are few bikes that I've made and given to my friends, you know, and I've kept a couple. It's like there's a lot of abandoned bicycles or bicycle that they just gets on the street, and people just
Mm-hmm,
discard it, or people take the wheels, or they destroy it. And so I've collected various bits and pieces and parts and made uh, that's what I used to do previously, uh, as well. I haven't done that for a while, but yeah, I've done that. I've made get a frame, get some, pick up a frame, pick up some fork, put a cup, put
mm-hmm,
a couple of wheels, buy parts if I have to, and then make a bicycle. And then that's, you have upcycled and recycled something that would have just either stayed on the street or
mm-hmm,
gone to a landfill.
mm-hmm. How did it start?
So it started as a thing in India when so I was a very enthusiastic sports cycle and touring cycling. I was very enthusiastic about that
Oh
when I was
wow.
younger. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
and uh, so it is in India, not now, but I'm talking about 15 years ago, more
mm-hmm,
than that, 15, 17, 18 years ago. Really getting a bicycle, a half decent bicycle was impossible. In India, we didn't make nice bicycles. We just made really chunky, steel rust bucket bicycles that were heavy and nothing like what you get here, like the lightweight bicycles which are used for racing
mm-hmm.
or
Yeah, yeah.
touring or something like. It was just really badly made bicycles, and one size fit all. And bicycles are not one size fit all. I'm short
Mm-hmm,
guy and I can't ride a big bike. It's not comfortable. So anyway, so that's sort of I couldn't find anything, so I had to make something, and that's generally the
mm-hmm,
story of my life. If I can't find something that I'm really happy with, I will make it.
mm-hmm,
if so, I can spend. This is the example. I didn't like any Bluetooth speaker on the market, uh,
mm-hmm,
or any case on the market, so I just made
mm-hmm,
myself one. And
mm-hmm,
anyway, so coming back to that bicycle thing, I just got into it because I wanted a bicycle for myself,
mm-hmm.
and I did that. Um, I picked up a sort of smaller bicycle, very old small bicycle frame that luckily I found. I put some wheels on it and made it custom to what I wanted. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
quite work, so then I, you know, cut a couple of frames and welded them together to make it work somehow, and all of that. And so that's how I really self-taught self-taught being a bicycle mechanic. And then at some point, I made a trip to Singapore. That was my
Okay.
first foreign trip to actually
Uh-huh.
go and get a bicycle for myself. And that was my first like imported, really nice, cool bicycle that I got. But again, I had to get it in parts because there was nothing that it would be suitable. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it all started. And then when I came to UK, I just saw a lot of, wow, that's a nice frame that somebody has just discarded or nobody's using, or somebody has
Mm-hmm.
stolen the wheels, and now the owner doesn't care because they've just
Yeah.
locked the bicycle to the railing. So
Mm-hmm.
I would, you know, go and pick it up and
Yeah.
build something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually, now talking to you, I've just thought of a community project that maybe I can take up
Yeah,
in.
because that sounds, but then
Yeah.
because I am my cultural background, I'm from Mongolia, and I know I'm not sure. It sounds quite similar in India because you can bring the you'll recycle lots of stuff and reuse in a different things. But here, I feel like everything needs to be needs to be from a new because of the health and safety reasons and
Yeah.
because like the car parts back in Mongolia, like people always use kind of like old stuff and they bringing up and then fixing, mending. But here is always new, new, new. And it's all like different legislation or health and safety rules and different things. But the
Also the
community
demand
was exciting. Uh-huh.
sorry, no, also the demand created by the pressures of, you know, that you have to have something new. Because in India, we were the same as you say in Mongolia, like we
Uh-huh.
used to upcycle clothes from generations,
Yeah.
not
Uh-huh.
just from a kid to kid, but
Uh-huh.
father to child sometimes,
Uh-huh.
and or mother to child, for instance. And we've sort of, and also a lot of uh, making stuff by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and we've along the way we really lost that. So for instance, we make butter at home. Of course we don't have a cow, so we can't milk a cow, but we get cream and everything from
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, either independent dairy or from the supermarket or something, and then make butter at home. And or you know, we grow herbs at home and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of really lost that making stuff by hand. It's
Yeah.
almost always going and buying stuff, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that creates a
Yeah.
lot of waste.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I totally agree. It's quite interesting to speak to different people on here and then we all bring different things and we got all different ideas here. So can I just ask, what makes you laugh at most?
Oh, okay. I really love political satire,
Okay.
and I so I think British comedy makes me really laugh. I think it's one of the best comedy, you know, and the British sense of humor is one of the best in the world. The kind of very ironic, dry, witty, good use of language, that sort of thing. So any British sort of stand-up comedy or political satire, like Thick of It or Yes Prime Minister or Yes Minister or something like that, even. Yeah, so that's really I'm really into it, and that generally makes me laugh. If I'm
Uh-huh.
down, I probably listen to a Radio 4 extra comedy, some sort of comedy panel show, or a sitcom, radio sitcom. I don't
Uh-huh.
watch much TV. I do love listening to radio and audiobooks or radio dramas.
Uh-huh. Mm, lovely, interesting. Yeah. So if I ask you, okay, let's think. If you had to describe yourself as an animal, which one would it be?
Oh,
Oh, I know it's really random, isn't it? Because kind of a fun bit.
yeah, maybe a hyena or a mongoose. Not maybe hyena or
Uh-huh.
a wolf
Why?
or some. Sorry. They
Why?
they really love communities. They live in communities. They achieve.
Yeah.
They can bring down lions and elephants,
Oh, yeah.
working as a team and as a community.
Mm-hmm. So If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
I already have my superpower
What
of
is it?
of of the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Having communities around you is a superpower, so I already have a superpower. And being a cause in the matter of those communities, of having those building those communities, or being part of those communities, is being a superhero.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So, if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
uh Probably something to do with my sarcasm, I think.
Uh-huh.
Some sort of warning may contain traces of sarcasm.
Cool. Okay, so probably it's like 8:55. Can't believe time's just flown by. My last couple of questions. What's your impossible moment, that achievement you've never thought you maybe not reach? Or maybe just like sometimes when you do something and say, do you know what, I made it happen type of achievement? The impossible moment.
Mm, I don't have a single moment that really, that says that, oh, this is something that I've achieved or done, or this is what is impossible. For me, it's the other way around, that everything that I've created is being created out of some sort of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And more so recently, in that, you know that everything is possible. It's not I am possible, everything and everyone is possible.
Uh-huh.
And for me, that's sort of, in that everything I create is I am
Mhm.
possible. you know
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
everything, yeah, every difference I
So,
make to a life or lives,
mhm.
it makes that I am possible. So I don't have a moment, and there are moments that have defined me and how I've been, but not sort of that one moment.
Okay. Yeah, everything's possible. Absolutely. Because I truly believe in that. Truly, truly believe in that. So, what would be your message to our viewers, and I would say to the world?
Be nice to each other, be kind to each other, be
Uh-huh.
reasonable. The world has enough hatred and enough, uh, you know, sadness going around, uh, without us being, uh, you know, not, it takes something to be kind and nice in these kind of situations. So, being less toxic online, less,
Mhm.
that's just something that I would just be nice to each other.
Yeah, and be kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for your time, Nilay, tonight. It's been
Thank you, Suki.
absolute pleasure to have you on our Impossible Conversation. And thank you, everyone else, for tuning in and listening and asking questions. And yeah, if you want to take part on Impossible Conversation, just send me a message and we'll arrange time. And thank you very much, Nilay. We'll come back next week.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Suki. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, and it was really amazing. It was a joy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Bye, all.